Well, hello everyone. I am Matt Williamson. How's everyone doing this lovely day? What we are going to do today is I'm going to get back to my final stat situation we talked about and talk about the Steelers' run game. And this isn't a knock at Arthur Smith, but it's a concern. We're going to talk about all the stats from Pittsburgh's offense running the ball. And you tell me if you think that needs changed or upgraded. I don't think it does. And my point is, I hope Smith doesn't mess too much with the run game. Keep the pulling and trapping and man schemes, and don't go to the heavy outside zone that he prefers. So I'm sure these have been talked about. I'm not even implying that it's a sure bet that he will, but I would imagine what we do know is they're going to run the ball a lot. So anyway, we're going to get started here. From week 9 until the end of the regular season, the Steelers averaged 145.2 rushing yards per game and had 13 rushing touchdowns. That was 5th most rushing yards, 2nd most rushing touchdowns. From week 9 on, I mean, it's like half the season. Harris and Warren combined for 404 carries for 19 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns. No other Steelers ball carrier, including quarterbacks, had more than 57 rushing yards. The Lions were the only other team with 2 running backs with 1,000 yards or more from scrimmage. I do think you will see these two on the field a lot more with Smith. Harris has started his career with 3 straight 100-yard rushing seasons, the only Steelers ball carrier in history to accomplish that feat. He also is the only running back to have a 3-year current streak of 1,000 seasons in the entire NFL. Joe Mixon and Harris are the only 2 running backs in the league with 1,200-plus scrimmage yards in each of the last 3 years. His explosive run rate was 10th best in the NFL. In the Steelers' wins this year, he averaged 4.3 yards per carry and 8 rushing touchdowns, compared to averaging just 3.45 yards per carry and 0 rushing touchdowns in their losses. Think about that. He didn't score a rushing touchdown in games they lost. Pittsburgh was 7-0 when Harris scored a touchdown. Pretty bonkers. Among the running backs with 100-plus carries, Warren's 5.3 yards per rush attempt was only behind Devon Achane and Christian McCaffrey. His explosive run rate ranked 3rd, and Warren's rushing yards after first contact per attempt was 2nd best in the league. He's a bit of a star. 5.7 of the Steelers' rushing attempts produced gains of 15 or more yards. Only 3 offenses were better. Only 7 offenses generated more yards per carry after first contact than the Steelers. Pittsburgh's offense was on the field for 1,000. And we're going to go back on that one. We're going to hold that for tomorrow because there's another thing I want to talk about here today. Want to tell you about our friends at BetOnline. With NFL playoffs here and the NBA season in full swing as it is, BetOnline has you covered with all the up-to-the-second odds, news, and scores. With additional odds, lines, trends, and info on both desktop and mobile, you can access the world's best wagering information anytime. Head there today to get into the action and see all the updated odds. Remember, use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, all one word, all caps, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. And we're going to talk NFL awards. And the Steelers are right in the mix of these things, to be honest with you. So, the most valuable player finalists are Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy. Now, you should know all votes were cast after the regular season. So the fact that Dak got beat bad or Lamar didn't go as far as he wanted, Allen didn't get to the Final Four, means nothing. So playoffs don't matter at all for these awards. That being said, Lamar's going to win, and he would get my vote as well. I got no problem with that whatsoever. The 5 finalists for Defensive Player of the Year are Deron Bland, cornerback from Cowboys, who had 1 million pick sixes, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, TJ Watt. And those last 4 with Nick Bosa, to me, make out the 5 elite edge rushers in the league. I think Garrett's going to win it. Frankly, and being as unbiased as possible, Watt deserves it. He had the best season. He had the best statistics. Yes, he missed a little bit of time, but not dramatic amounts. Garrett had 1 sack in his last 6 games. And yes, the Browns defense was the best out of these out on here. Frankly, Bland has no chance, and the 2 Cowboys don't even cancel each other out to me. And frankly, I think Crosby should be second. I mean, he eats a ton of snaps and gets no help. But yes, the Browns defense was the best of these groups, but it was unbelievably good at home and very average on the road. So, hold that with however you want. But in the end, their defense was great. Probably the 3rd or 4th best in the league, clearly behind the Ravens. But on the road, it was very average. And I'm not a proponent of you just give the award to the best player on the best defense. I mean, then maybe Roquan Smith should have an argument or, somebody like that. Watt had the best year. Offensive player of the year, which should never go to a quarterback now. Tyreek is a finalist. Lamar is a finalist. CeeDee Lamb's a finalist, as is Dak and McCaffrey. So to me, Lamb was unbelievable, but he was slightly behind Tyreek. Tyreek versus McCaffrey is the conversation. And Tyreek missed a game or 2, and he was on this quest to get to 2,000 yards. He didn't get there, and I think McCaffrey ends up running away with this. That is a joke, but hey, he did pretty well running the ball. Guy scores an unbelievable amount of touchdowns. He changes the game. That was probably the best offense in the league. So I think McCaffrey wins that award soundly. This is nuts to me. The offensive rookie of the year, it's going to go to Stroud, but Puka Nacua set records. So those two, basically any year that they would be in it, would win this. And poor Puka is stuck behind an all-time great rookie quarterback season. Sam Laporta, the season he had, would probably win it 50% of the years, as would his teammate Jahmyr Gibbs, who's also a finalist. Bijan Robinson comes from the Arthur Smith team. He was my preseason vote and fell short. Again, could have been used a little more, yes, but didn't have a bad season. So it's going to go to Stroud, but Puka had an unbelievable year, and Gibbs and Laporta were really strong as well. Now, this could work in the Steelers' favor because the defensive rookie of the year candidates are about as weak as I can remember, and Joey Porter Jr. is one of them. Will Anderson for Houston's the other. Jalen Carter, defensive tackle for the Eagles. Kobe Turner, you probably don't even know who that is, defensive tackle from the Rams. And Devon Witherspoon, who was a very highly drafted corner. They almost all have equal cases, and this was Carter's award to win, but he was actually, when the Eagles fell apart the last 6-7 games of the year, whatever it is, probably even more than that, to be honest, he was losing playing time. He was hitting a rookie wall. He was not producing. So he became more of as much of the problem as the solution, because early in the year he was unbelievable and was running away with this. Witherspoon was great, pretty much start to finish. But Porter was better, to be honest. But the thing that hurts Porter is it took him a month or so to be an every down starter. But Witherspoon didn't travel with number ones. I've cited the stats, which I don't 100% believe, but mostly believe. Corner stats are a little rough. But his stats are remarkable against number one receivers. Kobe Turner was phenomenal next to Aaron Donald. I mean, followed him around, learned from him like crazy. One of these unknowns. And I think he's got a real chance to win it, but I bet some voters just don't know enough about him. So I think the award will go to Will Anderson. A lot of good vibes in Houston, especially late in the year. Again, playoffs don't matter. But none of them I thought were great. So I think Porter's in the mix. I'm going to skip comeback player of the year because I think it's kind of dumb. And I guess I'm not going to skip it, but Damar Hamlin's going to win it. And hey, it's a tremendous story. I'm very happy for the young man. He's done a lot of good things in Buffalo, in our hometown of Pittsburgh. He's a Pitt guy. He barely played this year, though. Like, it should go to Baker Mayfield or Joe Flacco, but it won't. Anyway. Last one I want to talk about, I'm not going to dig into assistant coach of the year. I guess we could. It's going to be either Ben Johnson or Mike McDonald. Monken with the Ravens, Schwartz with the Browns. and Slowick with the Texans are the others in the mix. Three of these five are in the AFC North, 2 from the Ravens. It's going to go to McDonald or Johnson. That's a total coin flip. Coach of the year, Dan Campbell with the Lions is a finalist, as is Harbaugh, as is DeMeco Ryans with the Texans, as is Shanahan with the Niners, and Stefanski with the Browns. All have good candidacies. I mean, they all have good cases. Mine would be McVay with the Rams. I mean, I thought they were going to pick in the top 5. And when going into the season, most of you, no offense, knew who Aaron Donald was and maybe couldn't name one more Rams defensive player on opening day. Maybe you knew who Jones was, a linebacker, but a lot of these dudes, like we just talked about, the rookie defensive tackle, Kobe Turner, he was a rookie. I mean, you guys didn't know much about him, had a really good year. The offense was really good start to finish, but he's not going to win it because he's not a finalist. I think it'll go to DeMeco Ryans. Harbaugh is a pretty strong case as well, but as you know, the Chuck Knowles, the Belichicks, those guys just don't win it because expectations are always high. So Harbaugh's expected to win, and he won, even though he was the best team in the league in the regular season. That's probably not enough. I understand DeMeco Ryans getting it, and I have no problems with that, considering how desolate the Texans were when he took over. But I thought McVay was the better candidate. But there you go. Thanks so much. We were presented by Bet Online, and I will talk to you Monday, I guess. Over and out.